Welcome to United States Fingerboarding League Fingerboard Podcast. I'm your host, Levine Cunningham. I'm excited to be chatting with Drew Phillips.
What's going on, dudes?
So Drew Phillips, also known as Zeg Heads on Instagram. He's out of Tennessee, and we're excited to get to know this guy. This guy's doing big things in the fingerboarding industry right now, and I'm stoked to have him on here.
Thanks for having me, dude. This is really awesome, exciting. Kind of nervous, not gonna lie to you there, but very excited for sure.
First time podcast?
Yeah, I would say so. I want to say video interviews for work, and those are pretty nerve-wracking as is, but I feel like it's on the line today.
I feel you. I feel you. Well, no pressure. No pressure. I've only done a few of these, to be honest with you, as well, so I'm still kind of a rookie. So, but I mean, let's get into this. So, I know me and you got a little bit of history together, but we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But I also want to ask you, like, what got you into fingerboarding? Like, how did all this start?
Well, so like fingerboarding's been something that's been like around in my life for pretty much as long as I can remember. Back in middle school, one of my buddies had a G14 flat face, and that thing was so awesome, but I could never convince my parents to buy me a tiny skateboard. So like fingerboarding wasn't like a priority. Skateboarding more was at the time. So all throughout like middle school and high school, like fingerboarding was around, but it wasn't until I had like a serious knee injury that made me take a little break on my skateboarding career that really made me transition to fingerboarding and really ignited that love there.
Well, I heard a little bit about your skateboarding career. It's actually pretty in depth. Like, tell me more about this.
Yeah, so I've been, well, I have been skating for over 10 plus years, but I haven't been on the board in probably about a year. Last Memorial Day was when I last stepped on a board. And funny enough, I broke my wrist that day. I don't know what's going on as far as like the bad little spells out there, just goblins not wanting me to skate or whatnot. But for like 10 years straight, that's all I did was skateboarded. I did it at a competitive level. There wasn't a whole lot of competitions happening in Chattanooga area. So most of the time I would go out towards Atlanta. I don't think the skate park's around anymore, but it was called Hazard County Skate Park. In Volcom, they did a contest there while in the parks. And that was really sweet because that allowed me to go to the championships in Arizona, where I got to skate with some of the bigger, now famous pros, such as like Jamie Foy and Alex Midler and things like that. So yeah, I was really involved in the skateboarding scene for a long time, and it was everything for me. And whenever I blew out my knee, um, it seemed like my world just collapsed. But the miniature fingerboards, dude, got me out of that.
That's amazing. That is awesome. So you traveled, you competed, you did all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah, I tried there. Like I said, there wasn't many local contests going on in Chattanooga, so yeah, I had to go to Atlanta just to go to like qualifiers and things like that. And then you could place in like I think the Volcom one I did, it was the top seven, and then you got to fly out to wherever it was and compete with everybody else that qualified at other states throughout the year and things like that. So yeah, it was pretty cool. It was sad to see that go for sure, but yeah, it's neat that I think I found it again, if you get what I'm saying.
No, I hear you.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a poser myself. I actually don't skate. So my parents wouldn't let me skateboard, but I convinced them to let me fingerboard.
That's funny.
And I think
It's
they
funny.
may have probably rather me go skateboard and be outside instead of being inside fingerboarding and clickety clackety everywhere. But
Yeah,
looking back, I've never broke anything. I got all my teeth. So I mean, I guess I'm doing okay.
yeah, you're fortunate there.
I am fortunate. So basically, some injuries is basically what kind of drew you into fingerboarding.
Yeah, like I said, fingerboarding was around, but like your parents didn't let you skateboard. I wouldn't say mine didn't let me fingerboard, but I didn't have an income at the time, and trying to convince them to spend the same amount of money on a real skateboard on a miniature one was kind of hard. Um, but when my knee blew out, I think it was like 2015, I was a senior in high school. So that really, I had a job at that point. So it was then that I started picking up fingerboarding and just playing around with it. But it wasn't until last year that I went to your tour, and that's where I was like really inspired to see like, whoa, this is what I was doing, or like in the past, like in skateboarding, but on a miniature scale. I don't know, I can't explain it to you other than it was just like a full circle of like, whoa, like I'm back here again. This is really cool.
It is, the tour is absolutely, I love it. I mean, you have to be able to do it on a grand scale like we
Oh
do it. But I mean, we kind of took a page from what skateboarding is doing and we just shrunk it down, and we're just like, SLS is traveling around, they're setting up full blown like skate parks and hosting competitions and stuff like that. And I'm like, somebody should be doing that for fingerboarding on, some sort of a level. And so I'm glad that like, the tour was definitely like, very inspiring and stuff like that to you. And that's what I do this for. Like when I see people walk into the room the first time and see all of these parks and just what's going on, like the inspiration, the juices are just flowing for everybody. I love it.
oh yeah, dude. It was like a kid in a candy store. Like I know that's like a cheesy line, but that is like very accurate. I went in there, I was like, there's like 12 Black River parks here. What the it was so awesome, dude. Yeah. So thanks for doing that. Because yeah, like I said, you inspired me to do this. So yeah.
So it was basically the tour that kind of got you inspired to start hosting your own events.
Yes, exactly. Because the tour location that I'm speaking on was the Atlanta stop. Um, and it was a great turnout. I saw so many people that I wouldn't have ever seen from all ages. And that, like I said, my knowledge on fingerboarding, like I know about fingerboarding, but I didn't know like like what you were doing was a thing or capable, because whenever you see all those people in the room for a tiny little toy or skateboard, you're just kind of blown away by it. And like you said, there's nobody really doing it, and it doesn't make sense. So yeah, huge inspiration from the tour.
That is awesome to hear. So when I look back, I'm like, at the tour just itself, 2021 for us was kind of a concept year. Like, to be honest with you, I had no idea if anybody was even going to come out to these events. I never hosted a fingerboarding event before the tour, even though I've got event experience. So for me, it was kind of risky and definitely like, is this a thing? People are going to come out. And so for, someone like yourself that's just now getting into events, hosting them out in, all right, so what city?
Chattanooga, Tennessee. I don't think I said that. I probably skipped right over it.
No, you're all good. So you're putting Chattanooga, Tennessee on the map. We're actually considered possibly making Chattanooga a tour stop next year,
Oh,
simply
snap.
due to you developing like the Chattanooga area. And so you've been hosting these fingerboarding events, what, once a month now for like the last 3 months?
Yep, that's correct. Once a month. Actually, this month, March, I had an event on the first Friday of the month. There's a skate park in Atlanta. They do Fingerboard Fridays, which is um, their fingerboard event every Friday of the month, the first Friday. And they invited me to come host that. So technically, this month there'll be two events. But yeah, the goal is to do an event a month. And just create, like a steady little train for, my fingerboard community scene to just keep on getting together and build something up.
That's what I like to hear. It was what we kind of developed here in Indy when I had the shop and all that. It was a very cool experience to meet all these people, have a hangout spot at least once a month or twice a month, or however you kind of set it up, or like people just come in, they hang out, they fingerboard, and you just grow those relationships. And I think that my probably most strongest friendships are literally all fingerboarders. And so like for me, like if you don't fingerboard or you don't play Call of Duty, like I don't know if I can mess with you. Like, and like that's my life now and I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really cool whenever you can find like this solid group of people that have like, it's not even an interest at this point, it's a passion. So whenever you find other people like that, it's freaking awesome. And like it's just like skateboarding. I can't even the comparison. It's just like right on top of the head.
It is a growing industry as well. I
Yeah.
mean, I think you hit me up like 3-4 months ago talking about you're starting your first event. And I was super stoked for you. And I was like sending out some sponsor packs. And 2021, we started doing sponsor packs and sponsoring as many events and stuff like that as we could. And 2021, we sponsored like 50 something events. And then last year, we sponsored 84 events. And so we're on track this year to almost hit 100 events. We've got a lot of people that are like just super excited, super passionate, and they're hosting their own meetups and their own events and stuff like that. And the industry is just growing. So this is exciting to see.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think in Atlanta alone next month, I think there's two different events going on. I believe you're sponsoring both of those. So yeah, it's who would have ever thought, down here in the South, I would be playing with fingerboards with more than 3 people, I'm playing with like 20 to 30. I'm whoa, what is going on? This is crazy.
For sure.
Yeah,
That's exciting stuff. And I'm
that's
actually
awesome.
a Nashville native,
Oh,
Franklin and Brentwood area.
okay, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, I go through Nashville occasionally. Were you there when Sixth Avenue was around? I know you said you didn't really skateboard, but that was the part
No,
of the area.
I
Um,
I was a minor. I was in Nashville from I left in 2001.
oh, okay,
I was there
yeah,
for like 10 years. So basically from like 91 to 2001.
yeah.
Go
I
back
don't,
down memory lane there.
I don't know if it would have been there or not. I don't think I would have went there at that time, so might not have even been around. But yeah, Nashville's pretty cool. I've definitely been talking to um, one shop out there called Cecil about hosting an event. They got a toy store that they share space with. So what better spot to do an event than a skate store, toy store?
I like that. You got the juices flowing, already looking towards the future. Like definitely an industry leader right here. So you're talking about just literally growing the entire Tennessee, Chattanooga just area. And I know Atlanta's what, like 2 hours away?
Yeah, so the cool thing about Chattanooga, Tennessee is it's literally like right in the middle of Nashville, Knoxville, and Atlanta. I'm literally probably an hour and a half from all three of those locations. So for me to do events and travel outside of Chattanooga, that's pretty ideal. So I couldn't have looked out more on the location, because traveling is not that hard, or as hard as it could be, at least.
No, I understand that for sure. No one understands that probably more than I do.
Yeah, I can imagine with how many parts you're carrying around. Yeah.
So
I-
basically, if you're within a 2 hour drive of Chattanooga, you need to be at Drew Phillips's event. And give me the date and the location one more time.
Yeah, so I've got one happening at the end of the month at March 26th, the last Sunday of the month at Level Up Arcade in East Ridge, Tennessee, which is about 10 minutes away from Chattanooga.
So for you guys that are listening to this, or you guys that are on our YouTube channel watching this, we'll have all the details and Instagram handles and ways to basically get in contact with Drew Phillips here so you guys can attend this event. Or if you're wanting to sponsor his next event, I mean, this guy's definitely going to be doing things here in the Tennessee market. And so if you're in that area, definitely get in touch with Drew Phillips. He's doing big things. I'm impressed. And so for him to, pop up on the podcast, that's pretty big stuff.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Like I said, this was very exciting for me too. Like you're the reason I started this going. USAFBL really, put something into perspective for me. And so I'm very grateful for that. So yeah, thanks, bro.
I'm glad that the tour kind of inspired you. I mean, when you started your first event, I mean, for those out there that are thinking about starting their own meetup, their own event, I mean, tell me about the butterflies. Tell me about all the like just the challenges of just kind of putting this on.
Yeah, so it's honestly it's nervous whenever you have to pay for this space because you're always, in the back of your head, you're like, oh man, am I gonna come out of this? Like, am I gonna have to like pay this off another way? But then when you start seeing those people come in the door more and more, you're like, whoa, like I people really are coming just to hang out. Like I know it's not to hang out with me, it's to hang out with fingerboarding, but like the fact that I'm bringing people to come out to do something in a single spot that we all love, is a pretty amazing feeling. Another thing that really has inspired me is as a skateboarder growing up in the like early 2000s, indoor skate parks were huge. And so that was like, I could hang out and feel at home, but those kind of disappeared over time. And so, hosting an event and seeing all those people come back to hang out, it feels really nice. It's like you're creating a nostalgic feeling for yourself and everybody else. And it's just really cool to see the stoke.
That is pretty accurate. Now that I'm kind of like listening to your description and stuff, I'm like, these all resonate really like right at home for me. Like, I like the Atlanta stop, probably one of my favorites, simply because when I first started like just looking at locations and just kind of doing things and putting the tour on, we had like Dave Ware with Warehouse Ramps out in Wilmington, North Carolina. And so like a lot of the guys that come out to Atlanta, those are, Dave's guys, those guys out there. I've had a few people in the Atlanta area that went to the Chicago event, which is our very first event in 2021. And so, like, when I go to Atlanta, I feel like I'm just reconnecting with all the old homies and stuff. And so, the Atlanta event for me is always like the most nostalgic for me because I don't get to go down there very often. And when I do, all the homies are there and I'm super hyped. It's amazing.
Yeah, dude, the Atlanta stop was pretty awesome. I mean, well, granted, I didn't go to the other ones because I couldn't make them, but yeah, it was an experience. I'm so excited for this one.
I'm excited to be bringing Atlanta back on the map for 2023. So
Yeah,
we're excited.
yeah. I remember at the end of that event, my buddy, he was actually a vendor for Chrome,
I've met
at
him.
Dunkin'
Yeah.
Drama. Yeah, Tristan, really cool guy. But at the end of the event, I remember all me, him, and another one of our friends were like, "You coming back next year? You coming?" So whenever he said, "Yeah, we're gonna be here," I was like, "Yeah." So the Atlanta stop is something else. It's pretty great.
Yeah, same area, different location, but we'll definitely be back. So, like, when you started this, did you ever imagine yourself like basically doing events like month to month to month to month, back to back like this, like just having that success?
Yeah, well, I can't say that I thought the success was going to be there. It's always a risk. But I did indeed want to do something monthly, to give a little background, which I'm not trying to get like into a sob story or drama or anything like that. But I was working for a relatively smaller roller skating brand. It actually ended up blowing up, but there's only like 3 4 different companies in the scene. I was a graphic design artist. Company went bankrupt and I got laid off, blah 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 blah. But one of their business things was they had a mobile section where they would go to venues in the area and do a little roller skating mobile disco thing, um, on a monthly event. And the turnouts weren't always that great, but I just thought, having continuing doing that and learning like why those were failing and seeing how they could be better with something that people are more passionate about. Not that there's not passionate roller skaters out there, but the boss, the lady, she wasn't in it for that or whatever. I'm trying to be evasive what I talk about. But yeah, so after just taking inspiration from seeing mobile events happen in Chattanooga regularly, I was like, there's no reason that this can't happen for fingerboarding, especially after the first one happened this year, seeing how many showed up. I was like, okay, that like really solidified my thought process of, that this can be consecutive. But there is a hurdle with that, and that's, when I reach out to these companies asking for sponsors and things like that, doing consecutive events, I don't ever want to sound like I'm over asking for product or things like that. So that's one of the big challenges I face is, not wanting to over ask, as well as like, I know getting products sent to you is not free, so to have so many sponsors coming in and helping me recycle like through them, that's been very awesome. Like, I can't even tell you like how thankful I am for that, because I want to say that that's one of the reasons I'm able to do them consecutively. That these sponsors, the taglines of these companies, people see those and they see that, the event got a stamp and those companies are putting it on. So just with all these different marketing experiences that I've grown over the past year or so. I just figured that I could employ those in a better way.
No, I agree. I'm right there with you. We have the same challenges, stuff like that when we do the tour. And so, I mean, the tour is amazing by itself, but the sponsors backing it, supporting it, resharing your flyer, help marketing that for you, and then literally sending out those packs. I mean, the packs are, that's the sprinkles on top of the cake. I mean,
Yeah.
that's people get super stoked knowing that there's raffle items, there's prizes, there's just all kinds of cool giveaways, things that are going on. And so like that just super just that just makes everything just all complete. So I'm definitely there with you guys. Everything that you guys do, United States Fingerboarding League's definitely got you guys' back. So super stoked to be a part of this and helping you guys grow.
Yeah, we appreciate it, dude. Those little concrete trash cans and the loaves, they go quick on the raffle table.
Yeah, it took us a while to kind of get to the point to where we're making our own like just products and stuff, because that's the problems that we had, especially when we had our store. We hosted events once a month at the store, and it was just a lot trying to get like sponsors and stuff like that involved on a regular basis and stuff. And a lot of these people, they make products just, they can only do stuff so much and so fast. And for like people like, you and me and a few others, that we're just constantly in need of these things, it's a hard thing to kind of fill for sure. And
Yeah.
so we kind of created our own ecosystem a little bit. And so like, we started making stuff in house. So we started making like our own bushings and concrete obstacles. I'm working on decks, to be honest with you. That's the next venture
Uh-oh.
for me. I know.
Oh, that was just snuck in the podcast right there.
Just
Nice.
snuck that in there. Yeah.
Okay.
So I might be messing around with some decks here in a couple weeks. I've had the equipment to make, I mean, full blown like rotary saw, sanders, veneer decks. I mean, I have enough veneer literally to make probably like 500 decks. I mean, I've got all kinds of exotic woods and all. It's nuts. Like I got a full shop, but it's just been
Yeah.
sitting for so long because I just keep endeavoring myself with all these random projects like a podcast and a tour and stuff like that. And so it's been on the back burner, but I'm getting there. I'm getting
Yeah.
there.
Well, I'm excited to see him. Definitely have to hand some of them out one of the events.
Yeah, we definitely want to start like offering those into like our sponsor packs and stuff like that. I've got a lot of like international like events, and so like concretes I can't ship those cheap like overseas, and
Yeah.
so I've got to start looking at like smaller deals. Anyways, that's a whole nother episode. Whole
Yeah.
nother episode. So
Shipping weights crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
So all right, so oh man, you just got into this whole regular event scene. So what's like the future? Like what is the dream? Like where are you like what's the like vision that you see here in the next like year or two with these?
Okay. Yeah. So I would say the most like in reach goal, like the next thing on my schedule, other than the monthly mini skate series that I've been doing, is that Zegheads is going to launch an online shop. That should be launching around 420. LOL.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, so that's my little sauce into this podcast episode, that there is going to be an online Zeghead store. Because at the events, I do come with a mobile shop. I vend kendamas and used fingerboards and things like that. But with all this momentum, I've been able to, talk with other companies and become a distributor. So I do have different companies that I'm working with, such as like some of the smaller ones like Peep Squeak Wheels, 223 Fingerboards. I'm just plugging people in right now. But some of the bigger brands, I've got Teak, I'll be distributing, Doom Lagoon, really excited about working with them. So yeah, the goal is just to be, a center ground for everybody to get access for fingerboarding, because the market for fingerboards is huge right now, right? Like you can get on Instagram and you can find a fingerboard relatively quick, but you can only get it from that person. So it's not like there's skate shops all over the place, like, so that's what Zeghead's big goal is to have an actual storefront that I can continue to do mobile events as well as local events, and retail stuff, and just, really be a forum of accessibility for fingerboarding, because it's not where it should be, because there's clearly a community for it. We've got so many different people of walks of age. Like, it's insane the amount of people that come out to these events that you just wouldn't expect. And
Oh,
so
we definitely
we
agree.
yeah, we got to make it more accessible for these dudes. So yeah.
Definitely. So like we get the whole like that's a lot of things that the fingerboarding industry is just kind of lacking. We're lacking distribution. Like almost everything is direct from the manufacturer. Like there's only like maybe 3 or 4 sites that I'm aware of, besides like Flat Face or man, I can't even Pro
Yeah.
Scooter Shop, Exodus. I mean, there's only like a few like, you know what I'm saying? Like just
Yeah.
websites so you can just go and pick up a few like items from like different companies. Otherwise, everything is literally direct from the manufacturer, which is kind of crazy now that I think about it.
Yeah, it's I don't want to say ludicrous, Luda, but I mean it kind of is though. When you think about it, our market's like it's literally flooded. It's I don't want to say there's too many fingerboards because the more the merrier, right? It's awesome, but I can't get them, and that shouldn't be the case. So I want to change that, and I think that Zegheads definitely has the capability of doing that. So that's the big goal, is to just make fingerboarding accessible as possible. But that's happening relatively quick. So next month you'll be able to go zegheads.com, get you some cool fingerboard stuff, or if you don't have a computer in 2023, come out to the mini skate, and the shop will be there too. So yeah,
That's
big things
amazing.
coming around.
So you're talking a physical storefront?
Yeah, that will probably be, I'm hoping, within the next 2 years. I want to be a little bit more thoughtful on that, and just, strategic on where that goes and stuff like that. But yes, the storefront is a goal, but I'm wanting to introduce the website and the mobile shop first, and then transition into that.
No, that's smart. That is 100% smart. Grow the community, grow your followerships, your following, stuff like that, and the community will eventually just like they'll be ready, and you'll know that time will be ready. I jumped the gun a little bit, so don't follow my book. Like follow Drew's. Drew's got a little bit better game plan than I did. I just came out guns blazing, storefront. Let's do this.
Well, you're saying that, but you're the one who's gotten me to do this. So, I mean, if you wouldn't have, been the one to, make that jump, then who knows when fingerboarding would have got that going. I feel like this year, like you said, event wise, it's crazy. There's so many events going on. It's awesome.
And they're happening a lot earlier this year than they were
Wow.
last year. We're already like 20 events in, and we're just like barely scratching in the March. So
Yeah.
like fingerboarding season theoretically doesn't even start until like end of March when the weather gets nice. Most people host these things outside, at their park or their local skate park or anything like that. And so like fingerboarding season doesn't really start until like 1st of April. And so the fact that we've already got like 20 events down for the year already, that's huge. That's amazing.
Yeah. I can only like imagine what summer is going to be like. It's going to be pretty nuts.
I'm ready. I know everybody else is ready. And
For
so
sure.
I'm glad that, we've got people like you and me that are out here just like creating these unique experiences for people to come out and meet new people, enjoy that passion. I mean, I didn't fingerboard with a single person until like 2 years ago, and I've been fingerboarding off and on for like 20 years. And I just,
Yeah.
yeah, my first event, that's what inspired me. So my first event
Yeah.
inspired me. I'm glad that, your first event also got you inspired to do the same.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that it took you that long to fingerboard with somebody, and it's not on you, because that's how everybody feels, and I don't know why. There's not a reason for it to be like that, so
I know.
we gotta make that not be a thing anymore.
It feels fingerboard just feels taboo for some reason, and I have no idea why. Like it shouldn't be, but it just is. It's like, oh, like I want to go fingerboard and go touch that little spot over there. It's out in public and it's kind of busy. It shouldn't be like maybe I shouldn't, maybe I should. It should be like I'm gonna hit that anyways. Now I'm like, whatever. I'm 300-pound black guy. Like I'm just gonna go do it. Like who's gonna say something? So it took me a while to just kind of get to that point where like you're just confident enough to just be like, you know what, I'm just gonna do that. I don't care what people think. And it shouldn't even be that. It's 2023. Like we're past all of that.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. It shouldn't be like that. You're right. Especially with how many people are fingerboarders. Like, it just doesn't make sense. But change happens at a time. We just gotta start doing it.
For sure. I was at the mall the other day and I busted out my fingerboard. There was like a little, I don't know how to explain it. It was like a podium and it had a rotating like little disc on it. And so like I would spin the disc and then I would just do like a kickflip nose mani and then like circle it and then like nollie tray out. And like these kids came over and they're like, whoa, you got a fingerboard. And this kid, no joke, like took my fingerboard and did like a tray flip mani, tray flip out. Like
That's
first try, no warm up, like what? And he's like, oh yeah, dude, I play this all the time. I've got like, he's listing me off all these decks. I can't remember, but it's just like he blew me away. And I was like, that's crazy. And so anyway, and he plays Call of Duty. So now we mess with
there
him.
you
So
go.
we're
Nice.
we're best friends for life now.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's that should be a normal thing, you know. Literally just like skateboarding. It's I can't even explain how full circle it is, and it's just unfortunate that fingerboarding's just now getting there, and it's not even there to its full potential. You know, we're still pushing it, but it's exciting what's in the future for fingerboarding because it's here. You know.
Definitely, definitely. So, Drew, where can people find you on social media? Like, where can they find you? How can they connect with you?
Yeah, so I would say I'm most active on Instagram at Zegheads, but you know, I am working on getting across all social platforms. I just created a Facebook, not too active on Twitter, but I'm gonna try to launch that as well as TikTok. But all those are gonna be Zegheads. So just look for me there, Zegheads, and the shop on 420, zegheads.com.
Any last mentions, any shout outs, any
Yeah,
sponsors?
Yeah, so I do got a few different shout outs I want to do. Obviously, anybody that has helped put on a mini skate, like huge thank you. Obviously, USAFBL and Curbed. But as far as like naming out some more direct names, there's a fingerboard company out here that I wasn't aware of. It's like 30 minutes away from me, Fresh Baked Fingerboards. He was actually at the Atlanta stop, but I didn't even talk to him or anything like that, but he came to my first mini skate. And since then, we've been really collaborating on obstacles and parks and things like that. So huge thanks to him. You know, he's really helping me push Zegheads even farther. So yeah. And then I'm doing a shop over here in Zegheads, but I believe in Louisiana, there's a shop in the works called Fathers. So be on the lookout for that too.
Big things going down with Drew Phillips. So, all right, Drew, I appreciate you coming on the show. It has been an absolute pleasure. I got Drew Phillips with Zeg Heads. Once again, give a shout out.
Thank you much, man. Yeah, I can't believe I got to sit down and talk to the man behind the tour, dude. It was super sick.
Well, I appreciate you guys. This is Levine Cunningham, United States Fingerboarding League Fingerboard Podcast. Till next time, like, share, and comment and follow. We'll catch you again.